is line of sight. The higher it is, the wider the reach of the pulse. We've known about this for quite a while, and the Congress has worked on it since 2000. Congressman Trent Franks has introduced several bills. Each session, they get out of the House. Some of them get out of the House. None of them have ever made it out of the Senate. And we have one, I wish Jason was still here, because we have one that now that got out of the House. It's over in the Senate called the SIPA bill, Critical Infrastructure Protection Bill, that was held up for a while by Rand Paul. He's released it now, but it's up to the Senate to pass it. It would take us a great step forward in protecting the whole nation. We know an awful lot about what this threat is from the countries out there that have said they have this capability, have said that they want to use this capability. And these leaders are the countries we're talking about. Russia, we know what they planned to do, had in their documentation. When the Soviet Union collapsed, they held a number of high-ranking officials that defected to the United States. They brought war plans with them. They came and told us what they were planning on doing, and they have had it in their arsenal. We know China's had it. They've talked about it. The North Koreans, trying to get through some of these really fast, because these countries have said this. You can look this on the internet, Google it, and there are all kinds of reports out there from North Korea talking about using the EMP threat. Iran, we recently captured some of their war plans, and in it they refer to using the EMP threat against the United States 22 different times, in 22 different scenarios. They've talked about using it. China's hardened their grid on mainland China across from Taiwan. Imagine what they plan to do to Taiwan with that, because of that. This is considered probably the most likely of the scenarios, and there are several of them. And it's called a scud and a tub. Simply taking a medium-range missile, like an SA-2 missile, there are thousands of them out there, one small nuclear weapon and about 6 people, launch it off the back of a cargo ship out there off the coast of Galveston or Charleston, South Carolina, or San Diego. All it needs to do is get up to a couple hundred nautical miles over the central part of the United States, and it's going to take out 70 to 90% of our electrical grid. And it's not just a thought. In 2013, we intercepted and boarded a North Korean ship trying to get through the Panama Canal with 2 SA-2 missiles on board, hidden under about 10,000 pounds of sugar. Had the launching gear with them. The only thing they didn't have, they had not been mated up with a nuclear weapon yet. There are other easy, simple ways. It can be done with a weather balloon. Not as effective, won't get as high, but it would still be devastating. It can be done with an intercontinental ballistic missile, for sure, and even an aircraft, a high-performance aircraft in a Zoom climb could do it. Now, the military has known about this. We've worked in the military since the late 60s, early 70s. Hardening equipment, we call it hardening, is the term that's used when you say it's going to be protected against nuclear effects. And they have done things to protect equipment. And even more than that, last year, the military started spending almost $1 billion to refurbish Cheyenne Mountain. Cheyenne Mountain is where NATO was during the Cold War. It's where we had our command structure, because we thought that the Russians could not knock out our command structure in a mountain deep like that. And so for years we had it in there until the Russians refined their accuracy and increased the size of their weapons. And we knew they could knock it out, so it no longer made sense to stay there, so they moved out because it was expensive. Well, now they're moving back in again because it's the one place they can get protection from an EMP attack. So they are moving there. Now the natural side, if you don't believe that somebody out there would really like to take down America, which I find it, with what's happening in this world, that anybody would think that there aren't people out there that would like to do that if they could just do it. And they don't care about the consequences. You know, we never went to war with China and Russia because they knew there were consequences for them as a nation that wouldn't exist. You got countries out there now that are run by just flat nutcases, like North Korea and Iran, who don't care if they die taking down the greatest state. Matter of fact, you got Iran that if they died killing us, that's their only path to heaven. The only assured path to heaven for a Muslim is to kill an infidel, or to be killed in the process of trying to kill an infidel. If you don't believe that, there's the natural. There's the phenomenon of the sun, the coronal mass ejection that has been around. It is not a speculation of scientists about this might happen. It has been happening. As a matter of fact, the Carrington event is the first one where we actually had something that could be destroyed. It was like 1859, we didn't have an electrical system. No, but we had a telegraph system that operated off electricity. And in 1859, that telegraph system was fried from coast to coast. And in Europe, there were people that were badly burned that were operating the equipment. We had railroad ties that caught on fire because the rails got so heated that they set them on fire. And rails that turned into pretzels being warped by the heat that was generated because of the absorption of the energy. And then just recently, in 1889, there was some of you may remember the huge blackout that was in the Northeast and in Quebec. That was a coronal mass ejection that wiped out a huge amount of power. It cost over $20 billion to repair it, and a number of people were without it for many days. So, now, one of the good things that's happened is that we now have, where I started out, this was really a lone wolf exercise when I first started. I'm getting near the end. But we now have some help, and this short video was put together for us by the Blaze. And so, you get to hear Lori do.
An EMP is a